Right now, the unemployment rate for Americans with a college degree or more is about half the national average. They earn twice as much as those who don't have a high school diploma. So whether it's at a four-year college or a community college or a technical program, some form of higher education, something beyond high school, has never been more important. It's the surest path to finding a good job, earning a good salary, making it into the middle class. And at the same time, over the last 2 decades, the cost of college has doubled. It's actually more than doubled. The cost for you to take out loans has increased, and you are more likely to rack up more debt. The average student who borrows to pay for college now graduates with about $26,000 of debt from their student loans. Americans as a whole now owe more on student loans than they do on their credit cards. And that is wrong, because we cannot afford to price the middle class and folks who aspire to go into the middle class. We can't price them out of the college education market. We can't stand by when millions of young people are already saddled with debt just as you're starting off. Washington, that threatens to make the situation even worse. In just over a week, the interest rates on federal student loans are scheduled to double. If Congress does not get this done in a week, the average student with federal student loans will rack up an additional $1,000 in debt over the coming year. If Congress fails to act, more than 7 million students will suddenly be hit with the equivalent of a $1,000 tax hike. And that's not something that you can afford right now. We're 10 days away from nearly 7.5 million students seeing their loan rates double because Congress hasn't acted. This should be a no-brainer. It should not be difficult. It should have gotten done weeks ago. Now, the good news is there are folks in Congress trying to do the right thing. Last month, the Democrats in the Senate put forward a plan that would have kept these rates in place without adding a dime to the deficit. Unfortunately, Senate Republicans got together and blocked it. Over in the House, the Republicans said they'd keep these rates down only if we agreed to cut things like preventative health care for women, which obviously wouldn't fix the problem, but would create a new problem. This is even as they were voting lockstep for an economic plan that would cut financial aid for 9 million college students by an average of $1,000 and give a $150,000 tax cut to wealthy Americans. So I recognize that there's been some effort to change the subject from this rate hike. One congressman warned that this is all about giving college students free college education, which doesn't make much sense because the definition of a loan is it's not free, you have to pay it back. Others have said we're just talking about student loans to distract from the economy. That doesn't make much sense because this is the economy. This is all about the economy. This is all about whether or not we are going to have the best trained, best educated workforce in the world. That improves our economy. And higher education cannot be a luxury reserved just for a privileged few. It's an economic necessity for every family, and every family should be able to afford it. So, you know, you guys, during this period when you've been in college, have been some of the toughest economic times since the 1930s. And there's still a lot of challenges ahead globally. And we can't control every economic headwind that we face. But this is something we can control. This is something we can do something about. Stopping student rates from doubling at the end of the month is something we can do right now to make a difference in the lives of all the American people. Thanks, everybody.